Good morning. Good morning.
Mm.
Hello. We are the fourth quarter storytellers, and we are here to tell some stories. Today, we have a bunch of stories to tell that I'm so excited to get into. But first of all, we'll introduce ourselves. I am Cynthia Merritt, and I am 60-ish years old. Found myself reaching my retirement age with no substantial retirement savings. Oh my gosh. And the thought of having to live on Social Security for the rest of my life. Now, one thing I do want to say and stop and talk about that for a second before I go to my co-host is I'm glad to hear that Social Security is still going to be here. We don't know how long, but they're not taking it off right now. So that's at least good for the people who are living, because there are people living on Social Security right
Yes.
now. And if they miss a check one day or one week, it will devastate their lives with their finances. So anyway, moving right along to my co-host.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Valerie Davis and I am 53 and I am here because of using my savings, not having savings, in between blessings, as my mother would call it, not having a job, things of that nature. So learning how to get through and keep moving, keep going, not being depressed, learning new strategies so that I could keep moving and then also to give those strategies to you. So we are here for it. And hey, let's do it.
All right, telling some stories about this life
Mm,
we have lived with our experiences and our expertise and wisdom that we've gained. And
mhm,
so, what we talk about here are the fourth quarters moves that we make in this fourth quarter, and
mhm.
those are usually the moves that can change the trajectory. I said it slowly so I could get it out correctly that time. But and this is why I love this quarter, because this in this quarter you can change the whole outcome of your life.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so it doesn't matter where you started out. You may have started out impoverished as a child. Maybe you were born into an impoverished family. You
mhm.
don't know what the circumstances are with anyone's life, but you can end up a millionaire and pass that generational wealth on to your family members
Yep.
if you make these right moves. And they can even come in the fourth quarter. So loving that, talking about building a community here, something we're doing with like-minded people,
Mhm.
sharing information about health and wellness. Love that, because we need our health and our wellness mentally as well and spiritually, and gaining information on lifestyle options. You want to have those options, sharing information about financial improvement. Got to get our finances in order, and travel and relocation. We haven't touched on that a whole lot yet, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
First, we need to start with the basics and get ourselves together before we start getting out there doing all that recreational stuff. But there's a place for that as well. So this
Mhm.
is a safe place, no judgment here, and welcome in. And let's get into the content for today. So today we're talking about transferable skills.
Mm,
And I
mm.
love talking about this because everyone has transferable skills. And
Yes.
there comes a time, this is essential for your career transitions, if you're seeking employment in other areas, or listen, there are a lot of people right now getting laid off,
Yes.
not just federal workers, it's
Mm-mm.
coming for the private sector as well. So,
Yes.
public sector and private sector,
Mhm,
people are getting laid off, and you have professional skills. So, we're
mhm.
going to talk about transferring some of those professional skills that you have, even in your just everyday living
Mhm.
experiences.
Yeah.
Those are transferable skills. So, we're going to talk about some of those things. So everything is monetizable. The first thing you need to do, and the only thing you need to do, is just get started, guys. So, some ways we can identify our transferable skills are what we have listed here, and we're going to go ahead and talk about those. What we want to do, first of all, y'all, is review our past experiences. We want to look at our past jobs, our previous jobs, and this includes volunteer work.
Right.
This includes education and personal projects that you may have worked on.
Mhm.
So anything you think about the things that consume your time, your creativity, where you use your mind and put a strategy together. Those are the kind of things that you can actually monetize on. And actually, when you're putting your resume together, you're able to put that down as a transferable skill.
Mm-hmm.
So, common tasks that you have and responsibilities that you have handled. Think about those words as you're going through.
You know
Then
what,
you want to
Cynthia?
break. Go ahead, Val.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you
Mhm.
said that identify a common task, I don't know if you guys seen this commercial. It's the Ashford University commercial. The father had been out of work for 2 years, so he decided to go back to school, got his degree, and then he's looking for a job, but he didn't have a job for 2 years. So his transferable skills was what he did every day at home while helping the children, while helping
Thank
the
you.
wife go to work, and how he was getting the kids to school, making sure, a daughter that's 11 years old, 12 years old, going into teenagehood, having meltdowns, and then how his conflict resolution resolved the issues with the daughter. And he put
Absolutely.
all that within his resume, and it shows him going through his interview. And in his mind, you can see he's thinking about how he utilized every inch of what they're asking him by being a stay-at-home dad. And it shows that he got the job. So while you're talking about this, it's making me really, really think of the volunteer work, your day-to-day task, making those usable and accessible. Didn't mean to stop you, but I just thought about that, and I just want to put that out there.
That is beautiful. That's a wonderful thing. And that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the transferable skills. These are things that you do every day in life. And see, one thing too, I think about when I think about my career as a real estate agent.
Mhm.
I've been a real estate agent since 2002. And I've been a real estate professional, and every transaction I begin with a house going under contract, I am a project manager. I
Mhm.
manage that project. Each transaction is a project. I have to manage every person to make sure that the loan officer, the
Mhm.
home inspector, the buyer, the everything, each individual, each part, I have to manage in order to get us to the closing table.
Right.
Project manager, okay. Let me
Mhm.
put that hat on because I know I've been managing some projects, honey. So you have to go through your actual responsibilities that you go through in life. And those
That's
are
true.
actual experiences and yeah, experiences and expertise that you have in your life. So that's very good. Thanks for bringing that up, Val. And then we want to break down your skills into categories. So if you're breaking them down into categories, communication skills like speaking and active listening.
Mhm.
Do you have those skills? I know, and like I was just talking about, well, as a training consultant and a real estate professional, I have to have good communication skills. I have
Right.
to actively listen to my end users when I'm training them, and to my buyers and sellers, and all of those pieces in the puzzle that I was just talking about.
Mhm.
To For a real estate transaction, I have to actively listen and be able to speak to them
Right.
and in a communicative way that would engage them and have them to interact with me. Interpersonal skills, looking at teamwork, leadership, and conflict resolution. Now, see, Val, I know you have some experience in those, huh? I,
Yes, ma'am. Those interpersonal skills will get you a long way, and you pinpoint those. Make sure those are bold within your resume, within your cover letter, and speak on those during your interviews too. Having that teamwork, being able to be a team member, not just saying, "Hey, you're alone out here on this planet," because you're not. You Even if they say, "Are you okay working alone?" Yes, you are, but you work well as a team member as well. So you want to make sure you display that, because you got to have a team to make the whole gamut work. Um, that leadership, being a leader and knowing how to be a leader. Sometimes people are thinking, oh, just being a leader, telling somebody what to do and how to do it. But it takes more than that. You got to be able to hear what they're saying to you. You got to be able to receive it, understand it, and get it out there. So having that leadership, man, is so important. But that conflict resolution, that thing right there speaks volumes. If you can resolve an issue without causing another issue, that needs to be displayed on your resume. And you need to talk about how you've done that. You need to give
Absolutely.
every pinpoint of how you've done that. The analyze it, how break it down, because conflict resolution is a big thing that all jobs are needing right now. Every job. You have conflict resolution. If you have children, you're resolving issues.
In a
Spouse.
marriage.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You're resolving issues. So it's in your day-to-day life. Okay. So yeah, those interpersonal personal skills are key to have when you're looking at your transferable skills. And I just want to put this in here. I have created so many different resumes to pull my transferable skills for different jobs because, like Cynthia said, as a trainer and then going for a different position, we're like, well, you've only trained, but I've done these things too. So you got to speak on everything that you've done and make it make sense and make
Mm-hmm.
it wrap around that job title, that job that you're searching for. So I'm so glad we're on this topic, honey, because this is
I know, it's timely. Yeah, and that's why we're talking about because this is affecting a lot of people right now in life, and this is why we need to talk about it. But I was going to talk about too leadership. I love, and my master's degree is in leadership, and
Mhm,
I love servant leadership. I wrote a paper, and when I was working on my master's with about Chick-fil-A and their culture and their leadership and how they are servant leaders a lot to their employees. They like he never said that he said that they would never work on Sunday, and they've never broken from that rule. The
mhm,
store never opens on Sunday because he wanted that to be, devoted for. And I remember going through, driving past Chick-fil-A signs sometimes on the marquee. They would have, if you bring your uh, Sunday program from Sunday service, free
mhm.
Chick-fil-A or free waffle fries. And
Oh,
so that would make people go to, because you had to have the date on there, make people go to church that Sunday and
mhm,
then come in that Monday and be able to go through the drive through and give their program and get their free waffle
mhm,
fries.
mhm.
So I said, that is so creative. But yeah, it's all about servant leadership. I love servant leadership because, like you were just saying, it's not about telling people what to do.
No,
It's like coming to your employees and saying, how can I help you be a better employee with this company? You know?
you get a
So,
better
yeah.
response.
Yeah. And,
You
and
get a
listen to them and make those changes so people
mhm,
want to be there and want
mhm.
to be under your leadership.
That's
Okay.
true. That's true.
Hmm.
And also just also Cynthia, having these transferable skills help you in that transition with your when you're changing careers. People say that it's really, 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 really easy, but you got to know how to work it. You got to know how to word it so that you can.
Hmm.
Because speaking from experience, as I've been going into a different arena, I've been getting shut doors, closed doors, closed doors, closed doors. It's like, well, but you've only done this, but this is what I've done. So then I start to look at it. I went to a resume analyst or what have you, and she
Hmm.
was telling me to just pull all my transferable skills, pull them out, and she was directing me how to use them in my resume so that I can get better,
Results.
because no,
Hmm.
I'm not looking for a training role any longer, but
Right.
I've done enough. And
Right.
so that career change has been kind of difficult, but I can see the shift. I can see
Hmm.
the shift, whereas I wasn't getting any responses. I'm now
Hmm.
beginning to get some responses.
Hmm.
So making sure that we have those transferable skills and word them properly and speak on it
Yes.
is so important
It is.
because we
It
got
is.
to
And like
work.
you said, yeah, I'm sorry. When you were saying and speak on it, don't forget, guys, when you're in an interview, when Val was just talking about like the conflict resolution, make sure to bring those things up in your interview, in
Mhm,
conversation,
mhm.
because you want your interview, you don't want it to be like a question answer session, like, how did you do this? Okay, how did make it conversational. Well, you know
Exactly.
what? I did this and did that, and then this is
Mhm.
the way, and then I don't wait for them to ask me, so
That's
how did it turn out? What was your result? I say, I did this, I did that, I put this in place, and when we did this, this is what
mhm.
happened, and oh my gosh, it was solved. And
Yeah.
then they're like,
Mhm,
oh wow, okay.
mhm.
They don't have to ask me any more questions about that. Move
Exactly.
on to the next question,
Uh-huh.
honey. You
Because you've already told them. So make it
Yes,
conversational. So you've already given them what they're needing, and they
exactly.
applaud you for they love that.
Yes,
They love
yes.
that. Oh, ooh,
Yes,
and
because then you appear to be relatable, and then they're like, "Oh, I can see her in this role because she could relate
yes.
to the other teammates the way she's
Mhm.
relating to us."
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
You don't want it to be robotic.
Exactly, Val. Exactly.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
And that's how making it conversational. That's how they see your real personality.
Personality.
So yeah,
Exactly.
and that's what
Let
they're
your
looking.
light shine, honey.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. These opportunities. You know what? Every time you have an interview, think about it like an audition. Oh, I'm going for an audition for a new role. And
Hmm.
let me see
Hmm.
how I can show up and let my light shine. So just look at it like that. Don't dread any interviews.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about some technical skills.
Yes.
Software proficiency, data analysis, and troubleshooting. So we probably all or most of us have some experience in these areas.
Mhm.
And also Coursera and other,
Yes.
platforms like that are offering courses right now because
Mhm.
hey, they know that things are happening, changing
Yes.
right now in the job market, and people need to get some new skills
Hmm.
defined in their
Hmm.
skill set list. So you can get some new marketable skill sets if you take some of these courses and get a certification. And I started one with Coursera, the data analysis, and it's
Hmm.
really interesting. I really like it. But yeah, so that's another certifications you can get under your belt with
Yep.
those platforms
Hmm.
for technical skills. And then organizational skills, project management, successful multitasking. Although now they say that we shouldn't be multitasking because things get dropped through the cracks, even though they've been telling us for a long time. Multitask,
All the
multitask.
time.
Yeah, I know. So
Switching it
time
up on us.
management. Hmm. And in time management, now time management is my superpower. I tell you, I have mastered that.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
excited about my time management skills, and I love helping other people with theirs as
Hmm.
well. Just prioritizing to
Hmm.
make sure that everything gets done. Do you have a system that you use, Val, as
Well,
far as managing your time?
let me tell you. So everybody always putting everything on the phones and on their computers. Well, honey, let me show you. Hold on. To keep up with what I do, my day
Okay.
to day. I have
Yeah.
in my um, Good Bloom planner. I put
Oh,
everything in here, and
okay.
I put my time and my date, and I keep it on my desk. So if I say I'm
Hmm.
going, being that I'm in school again as well, if I say I'm going to spend 2 hours on one subject, then I'm going to do that, and I stop it right then and there. I don't care if I'm not done, because if I keep moving over, then I'm going to run into something else, and then I'm going to take me a 30-minute break. My
Yes.
30-minute break, and then I go into another lesson. If I don't have another lesson to do, okay, so hey, now let's work on this resume, or let's see how many applications out there. Because I don't know about y'all, but I can't do 20 applications a day anymore. I can't do that.
No.
So my thing is now I'm only doing two a day because I was burning myself out.
Yes.
And then I'm programming myself, Cynthia, to shut my brain down at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I program myself to shut my brain down at
Mhm.
6 o'clock because it's constantly going from 5:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's my time to just take a breather After I get that done, after I get my breather, may it be 30 minutes or an hour, if I don't have any housework to do, if I don't have to make any dinner or anything like that, then I say, okay, let me search and see if I can find ways to accommodate me from a financial standpoint or to accommodate me by looking for jobs and close what they say, closed mouths don't get fed. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
honey, I go to reaching out to people because people at home after 6 o'clock, they at home.
Exactly. Exactly.
so,
That's the truth now.
so yeah, so I have to plan my day, and I had to get better at it because when I first started school, trying to do my homework and trying to work or do anything, I was all over the place, and I was so overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
and I was up in the middle of the night, like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
trying to get work done. And even though you may wake up, for me, it's not beneficial because my mind is racing and then I'm getting tired and
Mm-hmm.
sleepy. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
come up with a plan. So I had to go back to my nutty buddy, my planner here, my favorite thing, and just
Mm-hmm.
prioritize myself. Even with
Mm-hmm.
today, I have several things that I need to do. And then I forgot about one thing because I didn't put it in my planner. So now I have to
Mm-hmm.
put that in and take away time from somewhere else so that I can still get my proper amount of rest that they say that we need. So
Yeah.
so my strategy is to write it down, set an alarm for things that I need to do, and
Mm-hmm.
take that breathing room for myself. But you got to stay
That's
organized.
beautiful.
And even
That's
your
beautiful.
surrounding area needs to be organized. You
Yeah.
can't be successful in clutter. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
clutter your mind. You got to have everything organized, orchestrated, so that way you can think and move
Yeah.
at a position and a level that makes it easier for you and keep you going.
Oh,
Yeah.
girl, yeah. I
Hmm.
hear you. And see, I'm old school too. So I use a calendar. Girl, I have to write everything. I write everything on my calendar. My calendar is always completely full,
Hmm.
highlighted, and everything because and because we have so much we're doing, Val.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
We as human beings all have so much we're doing on a daily basis
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
have to do that to keep something from dropping through the cracks. Because again, we're multitasking, and because there's so much we're doing, and to keep it from dropping through the cracks, you put it on your planner or your calendar so you can look. And that's the first thing I do when I come in my home office every morning. I come
Hmm.
sit down at my computer, look at my calendar at the same time, drinking my coffee and looking at, okay, what's today? What do I need to get done? Yeah, and then you can go on your way. But you can't wake up and just say, okay, what was I supposed to do
Watch what
today
you're
again?
doing. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah. But before we even start doing that, we take time out for ourselves to meditate, get ourselves going first
Oh, come on
before we
now.
go into this office.
Right.
Yeah.
In the bed. That's in the bed when I'm first waking up and
Yes.
sitting up out of the
Hmm.
bed,
Hmm.
meditating and praying, honey.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. I ask
Yeah.
God for clear direction for this day.
Absolutely.
Meditate, I stretch, then I get into yeah. It's all got to line up, guys.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's use the self-assessment tools. So there are some online skill assessments that we can take a look at. So we can look if you need some help to assess your skills. You can go to My Next Move and Strength. I've used this one, strengthsfinder.com. And that helped a lot too. I really enjoyed doing that. There's some exercises you can do there and some things that help you categorize your strength and show that so you can, highlight that on your resume as well. And then when people ask you in interviews and conversation, what are your strengths? Then you can know. You don't have to sit there and think, what are my strengths?
Hmm. Hmm.
So do you know what is one of your strengths, Val?
My strength is being direct.
Okay.
I'm not going to um I'm direct about what my ask is, and I'm direct about asking you what your ask is of me. So there's
Very
no,
good.
yeah. So I'm not going to be like, I think they know what they're saying, but I'm not, and I don't want to have to go back. So I'm very
Okay.
direct, and I want to repeat this. It's what I heard. This is how
Mhm.
I feel about that. Am I on the right road? So
Okay.
my strength is being very direct, so they don't have to keep coming back to me because I don't like
Right.
that. And then if I
Okay.
have to delegate something, that I want to
Mm,
be direct so they don't have to come back to me as well.
gotcha.
So that's
Okay.
my that I feel like that is my biggest strength.
That's a great strength to have. Yeah, to be direct like that. And
Yes.
mine,
What
I
about you?
have to say that mine is communication.
Mhm.
I feel
Mhm.
like I am a communicator. I feel like I can communicate with, and I know I can communicate with anyone.
You do.
I just,
You really
I
do.
can communicate with a homeless man on the street, honey. I would have, you know what? And I have to tell this little story. One time I went to the dry cleaners, pulled up at the
Mhm.
dry cleaners. It was right next to a convenience store. And so I got my dry cleaning out, put it in the car. And there was a young man outside. He was asking for money.
Mhm.
Now he appeared to be in maybe his late 20s. And this was some years ago. I'm saying this
Mhm.
was about 7 years ago.
Mhm.
He appeared to be, and he was in good shape. He,
Mhm.
looked like he could do some work or whatever. So he asked me,
Sorry.
he said, ma'am, I said, let me run in the convenience store and get this or that, whatever it was. And I was going in the store and he asked me, do you have $1? And I looked at him and I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't. And then I went into the store and I came back out and got in my car.
Mhm.
And I said, I need to have a conversation with him.
Mhm.
So I got out of the car and I went up to him and I said, you know what? I do have $1 and I'm going to give you that dollar. And what that dollar should buy me is the ability to ask you a question and you have to answer my question.
Okay.
Is that fair enough? And he
I like
said,
that.
yes, ma'am. And I said, okay. So I gave him the dollar and I said,
Mhm.
now, you to me appear to be a very able bodied young man.
Mhm.
Why are you standing out here asking people for $1 instead of being somewhere earning your dollars? And then he said to me, he said, well, I've been cutting grass, as much as I can, but I had to buy gas for the lawnmower and stuff like that. And then, and he was just giving me a lot of things that he had been doing, multiple things. He gave me like three things that he had been doing. I
Mhm.
can't remember. It's been so long ago. But anyway, I said, so why aren't you doing that for yourself? Why don't you get yourself together? Go get a little job, do something to buy yourself a lawnmower
Mhm.
so that
Mhm.
you could do that and do that for yourself. So you don't have to be out here asking for no money. I said, because you look like you're not hurt. You're standing up. Your body looks like it's in good condition. Man, take advantage of this. And then he said, you're right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for this dollar.
I
And
bet
I
he
bought
appreciated
myself a
that.
conversation.
Yes. And I bet he appreciated that. And that probably
He
was a
did.
turning point from him for him.
I hope it was. I hope it was. I hope it made a light bulb go,
Yes.
connect.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anywho, but
I like
that
that.
yeah. So my skill is definitely communication. I love
Mhm.
communicating, and I love
Mhm.
finding those answers like that because anything. I'll keep
Yeah.
on because honey, I'll be talking forever. So let's
That's
go
a
on.
good skill.
It is. It
That's
is,
the
isn't
top
it?
of the line skill because that's what's needed. You
That
got to know how to
communication.
communicate.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, analyzing job descriptions. So here we want to seek the job postings in our desired fields, and then just identify the skills that we have
Mhm.
already for that particular job. So if you're looking for a particular job, look at the posting, look at what they're asking for, and then relate that to the skills that you do have already, because something is going to relate to something you do already. And uh, that's something you can definitely apply for and say that you have experience in that. And then
Mhm.
comparing them to our experience and seeing what's matching. And so that's basically looking at every day what I do, make sure they
Mhm.
match.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's true.
Asking for feedback. This is really, really good, guys. Make sure you have in your circle people who will give you honest feedback. And this can be colleagues, mentors,
Mhm.
supervisors you've worked
Mhm.
for, or if you have good, close friends that you trust
Mhm.
and that will be honest with you and let them give you um, their insights into your strengths. I remember sending you one, Val. When I was doing that, it was the one I was just telling you about, the skill
Yeah.
set site.
Yeah.
And it
Mm-hmm.
had me going through asking, I had to choose 5 people and
Yep.
ask them who I felt like honestly would give me a
Mm-hmm.
critique on my skill set. And I remember
Right.
you sending yours back to me. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I think that's very important. And it's very important to get that from some people you would normally not ask. So even if there
Right.
are colleagues, but maybe colleagues that you normally don't have conversation with that often, or
Mhm.
interaction with a certain manager or just individual, to let them give you that feedback, and always be prepared for constructive criticism. Always be prepared, because it's going to enlighten you. It's going to heighten you in the end.
Mhm.
So it's very, very good to take that. So I know for me, I've been working for years. I started out training in 2011, different projects or whatever. It doesn't matter. 2011, 2025, I'm always Nervous Nelly, and that's what they named me.
Mhm.
When I was on the Morgan Stanley project, I was Nervous Nelly. I knew my stuff, but I was always nervous. And the reason I was nervous, there was three things.
Mhm.
I was still and I was still building my confidence, because I wanted to make sure I knew everything. And
Okay.
then I had to be reminded, well, you can't know everything just right now. It's
Right.
going to take
Right.
some time. And
Right.
then the third thing, I did not want to, I didn't want anyone not to have what they needed, because I will always call the go-to girl. So I wanted
Okay.
to make sure I give them what they needed. So that
Okay.
was one of my weaknesses. And I would get so frustrated, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to give them this. I would work myself up into a frenzy, honey child, Lord Jesus. Work myself up into a frenzy, because I want to give them everything they need. So while I'm working myself up in the frenzy, guess what? At the
What?
end of the training classes, oh, Miss Valerie, you did great. I really love how you did this. You did this, whatever. So I'm thinking in the background, I'm not. So, but I had to ask people to
Right.
critique me. And
Right.
if more than two people tell you the same thing, you best believe that is true.
It's
Okay.
true.
You best
Mhm.
believe that is true. So I had to look at that and start trying to work on that. It's okay. Go with what you know. The rest will come. Feed the people, give them what they need. So
Right.
take that feedback from people. Um, and it helps you build your skill set. So now when you go
Absolutely.
into a different career, hey, check that off. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
And that's excellent. And those people that we are asking and they are giving us that feedback,
Hmm.
normally they will, especially if they're people like you said that you don't communicate with regularly, but
Hmm.
they're looking at you from afar, from the
Hmm.
outside looking in. Um, they see things that we haven't noticed about ourselves. So, and when you, because we all have a certain opinion of ourselves and how we
Hmm.
come off in the world. Now, this is an interesting study, honey,
Hmm.
because we have an idea of how we present ourselves in the world,
Yes. Hmm.
and when we hear other people tell us how we present ourselves and how
Hmm.
they see us, and it's really, really
Hmm.
contradictory to what we think about
Hmm.
ourselves, sometimes it can hurt. you know,
That's true.
because it's like, I didn't know I was coming off like that, or,
Hmm.
wow, that's interesting. I didn't think that, I thought I was
Hmm.
this, but but that helps. And like you said, especially if you get that from two or more other
Yes.
individuals,
Hmm.
honey, that's the real person you presenting in this world. So you need to
That's it,
yeah, put that in
girl.
check.
I remember being in Shorter College, and we were in our study group, and this one lady came up to me and she said, "How do you take constructive criticism?" We were working on, I think, a conflict resolution class or something like that, and I said, "I feel that I take it very well." So we went through everything, and so she went around the classroom. So if she has something to say for everyone that they need to change or whatever, well, she had two things for me. So, honey, I got in my little mind back then. I'm like, just one for take it, because it's always helpful. And everybody's not out to get you and tear you down.
Right.
So
Oh
you got to
no,
change that mindset and know that they're not
absolutely.
just as many um suggestions on to enhance what you're doing, you get just as many compliments on what you're already doing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So you gotta take that. You made a comment and then we can move forward. You made a comment about y- people from the outside plus people that you know just telling you things about yourself. I attended an event last night, and one of my really good friends of almost 20 years around my daughter, my nieces, these younger adults or whatever. And so she was just talking and she just came up, she's like, Valerie has a great mouthpiece. She's very this, she's very that. So she's just saying these two things to these younger people and my daughter's just looking at me. And then her friends were like, Miss Valerie, that is true. You've always done this. And think that you probably wasn't even thinking about and wasn't even
Right.
thinking that these young adults were
I know.
noticing about you. So these
Mhm.
are all young girls between the age of 24 and 27. You wasn't even
Okay.
thinking that. So when you have that positive that's bleeding out and they actually see it, that's
Yeah.
good. I know it has nothing to do with this, but I just thought about,
No, that's awesome. That is
you know,
awesome. But it
so
does
just
have
but
something to do with
yes,
that because we're talking about the appearance of other people,
yes,
of
yes,
you.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right there what we're talking about. That's awesome. Thanks for
I was
sharing that.
really pleased to know
I
that
know.
these youngsters have that's been growing up around me and with me pulled all those good things, even when
Yes.
things didn't look like they should, they still
Yes.
gravitated to what they saw as like excellence and then just greatness. So I was like, oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly. So you're doing good, girl. I know that's right. So then, okay, let's go to reflecting on challenges that you've overcome. This is huge, y'all, because we've all overcome some challenges. And this is
mhm,
what a lot of employers want to know too, because there are going to be some challenging times in the workplace. And they want to know how you solve these problems, work through them. So think about the situations where you had to learn quickly to
mhm,
solve a problem, adapt to changes, and
mhm,
actually realized that you have these things in your skill set already from
mhm,
day to day things that you have to do in your life and not in a professional atmosphere.
mhm,
So this is something that you had, and talk about these things in your audition for your next role,
mhm.
interview for your next job. Okay.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
That's so
So
true.
talk about those things. They want to hear about them. I'm telling you, your interviewers want to hear, they want to have that conversation with you.
Mhm,
You'll leave a
mhm.
lasting impression on them if you have a great conversation with them and they
That's true.
enjoy the interview. And they're going to think about you as they go through the other interviews. And one that would be like a bullet point conversation, they'll be
Yes.
like, oh, scratch that one. Let me get back to Val. She was a great conversation. You
Yes.
know, so these situations are going to reveal some very valuable transferable skills that you already possess. And then this is one thing that Val was talking about earlier. Organize our skills for your job search, making sure
Mhm,
we're organized. So you want to make sure to highlight your skills on your resume, your cover letter,
mhm,
and what you're going to talk about in your interview. So go ahead and talk about this, write it down if you need to, but have this stuff ready when you go into an interview. I have usually bullet points on my desk when I'm doing an interview so I can look over at them if they ask me about this or that or this or that. And I
mhm,
can just look at it and say, yeah, you know what? Cause so I don't have to try to grab things off the top of my head. Well, tell me
mhm,
about, because they'll ask you that question. Tell me about a time when you did this or did that kind of action and then what was the result? So
mhm,
have
mhm.
those things already ready. Don't be afraid of cover letters, guys. Cover
Yes.
letters are a necessity now
They sure
because
are.
the cover letters make you stand out. Most people
Mhm,
don't want to do cover letters, therefore, they won't. If you do, because you know that you might be
mhm.
the one out of maybe four that will do one, maybe
Right.
you'll get pulled
Mhm.
instead because you gave a cover letter, you
That's
know?
true. That's true. And I used to be scared of cover letters because I didn't know exactly what to put on there. I was like, I put all my information in the resume. I filled out all the information on the application, and I wasn't too sure what to put on the resume. So um, I've had someone
Okay.
tell me it's an introduction of who you are, brief description, a description of why you feel that you'll be an asset to this company, and then it starts flowing. And you sent me a very good cover letter, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is really good. So I've just been adding off that, moving towards that. But one of the things I want to go back and piggyback off on is when you were saying, when you're thinking about your situation, you have to learn quickly and solve problems and adapt to change. And when you're inputting on your new resume for your transferable skills, this is something that I found, the STAR method. Someone else told me about this, STARR. I had to pull it up to make sure I say it correctly. It's the structured approach to answering interview questions about what you've done. So if you're describing your transferable skills of what you've done and you want to give a breakdown, think about the situation, the task at hand, the action that was taken, and what was the end result. So now you've given them everything that you want for that transferable skill, so they can like, oh, okay, you didn't just make a bullet point in a statement. You've told them exactly what was done and how it was done. So now here again, that alleviates some of the questions. When they say, oh, well, give me an example, you've already told them what you're doing. So now it's going to make that transferable skill stand out a bit more. So
That's true. That is so true. That's very good. Thank you, Val.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so use, and like you said, use those specific examples to demonstrate the relevance of what you've done, you know, in your transferable skills for this job that you're applying for. So how is that relevant to what you're applying for now? So, okay, so these are all ways that we can use, identify, and use our transferable skills to get into a new area. And then, you know, go ahead and get some new opportunities or start your own business, you know, whatever, you know, but just getting yourself secured with employment or either your own business. So you have those skills already. Those can be monetized, things that you're doing on a daily basis. And we just wanted to give these tips today because this is something that's going on in the private and the public sectors in the United States. And not only that, guys, but there are so many opportunities. If you're thinking about moving abroad, but if you're thinking about moving abroad, there are so many opportunities for you to work from home. So you'll be able to do that anywhere in the world. And, you know, this is something that you can just make sure you have your job, your transferable skills so that you can get one of those work from home jobs if you want to move abroad and still have an income coming in. You can do that when you're working from home. Yeah. So. All right, guys.
So true.
Well, Val, you have a word for us?
Well, being that we've been talking about these transferable skills, and I just want to talk about aligning yourself, aligning with God. God in the spiritual sense means aligning with God in the spiritual sense means seeking his will, living according to his word, and allowing his spirit to guide your actions, fostering a relationship where your thoughts, actions, and life align with his principles. Everything that we're doing, we're reinventing the wheel for ourselves so that we can align with our purpose and what we're looking for within our job and our career to move forward. Think about that alignment. What does that alignment mean for you? What is that alignment with what you're looking for in your life? Still put God in the center of it, put him around it, over it, under it, put him there, and work on your alignment with what your ask is for you to move forward. We can't go wrong, guys. We cannot go wrong. We got direct instructions on how to do this thing. So let's just follow that guide. That's it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thanks, Val. Thanks, Val. Alignment. Making sure we're aligned with God's will for us and we can't go wrong. I love that. Order my steps, God. Order my steps every day and he will.
That's it. That's it.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Don't forget to like, share,
like.
subscribe.
There we go. Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.